Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And thank you for that great introduction. Thank you also to Dr. Jones and Dr. Podest for that great introduction to NISAR. So yeah, I'm Micky Maganini. I'm here in Alabama in the US. Next slide, please. So as was mentioned, I work with NASA EarthRISE, which is a brand new NASA program, and we work with satellite data from NASA and from others, and we want to translate that satellite data into solutions. So we work with state, local, as well as tribal partners here in the US, and we also work with the private sector as well. So not only do we want to transition satellite data to solutions in many different areas, but we also want to work amongst different NASA programs and to integrate efforts between NASA programs. So, as you can see from the image there on the right, we work in many different thematic areas. So we work in agriculture and forestry. But today, obviously, what I'm going to be talking about is flood management. So how can we use satellite data for flood response and for flood mitigation? So that's kind of the section of EarthRISE that I work on the most is natural disasters. But today we'll be talking about floods specifically. Next slide, please. So we already got a great introduction from JPL about synthetic aperture radar, or SAR, for flood mapping. So the very basic example, as we saw, so this is a VV image from Sentinel-1. The very basic example of flood mapping, in a simple case, you have dark areas representing floodwater because of that specular reflection, as Dr. Podest and Dr. Jones stated. And then non-water is bright areas. Of course, there's exceptions, as was discussed, but this is kind of the simple case that we can then use to obtain a flood map. So traditionally, a flood manager or a flood response manager would get this Sentinel-1 data, would send it off to a subject matter expert. That subject matter expert would create a flood map and would give it back to the flood manager. But that obviously takes a lot of time. So what has been developed now is sort of automated algorithms that will take this image and automatically generate a flood map. And then that way, the flood response manager can make a decision quicker. So that's what I'll be talking a little bit about today. But before I get too ahead of myself, I wanted to explain what is so great about NISAR. And this was touched on, of course, earlier, is that NISAR will have this longer wavelength at L band. It will also have S band, but L band will be the global coverage. And that's going to be really great for mapping inundated vegetation. Because of that longer wavelength, it will be better able to penetrate tree canopy, and thus it will be able to map water that is underneath that canopy. So I've kind of shown just to give you an idea of how much longer the wavelength of NISAR's L-band instrument will be compared to Sentinel-1, which is sort of the current SAR instrument that is available globally. So NISAR's L-band will be 4 times the wavelength, and that will allow us to see flood that is hiding under tree canopy much better. And as was also mentioned, SAR is an attractive method over traditional optical satellites because it can see through clouds, and with these longer wavelengths, it can even see through the trees. Next slide, please. So as I stated, there's now these global flood products that have really burst onto the scene in recent years. And so these are based on SAR or optical data, and they will, for every SAR acquisition, they will automatically map water for you, and they're available everywhere in the world and are freely accessible on the internet. And some of these products have really low latency, meaning that they're available very shortly after this satellite actually conducts a measurement. So as of now, there are 2 global flood products that are based on SAR data. There's and I apologize, I forgot to mention that this is part of the OPERA project that the folks at JPL were talking about, but it's called the OPERA Dynamic Surface Water Extent, based on Sentinel-1 product. And then there's another product which is also based on that Sentinel-1 sensor called the Global Flood Monitor. And this is produced by the Copernicus program which is managed by the European Union. So these two products are available right now, and every time Sentinel-1 makes an acquisition, they're mapping flood water. And as I said, they're available anywhere in the world, and they're freely accessible on the internet. The DSWX team, the Opera team, will also be releasing one of these products based on d-InSAR, and it's currently in development. I'm not sure if there is a release date announced yet, but it should be coming soon after the d-InSAR data is made public. Next slide, please. So at NASA EarthRISE, what we did was we conducted a global flood intercomparison using these global flood products. So not only are there those two SAR-based global flood products, but there's 3 other ones that are based on optical data. So we wanted to spread awareness about these products, but we also wanted to conduct an intercomparison of these products. So this manuscript is currently in preparation. It's not released yet, but I'll be sure to share with the group when it is hopefully published. So in order to assess the comparison of these flood products, we obtained 5 flood events around the world where we had synchronous overpasses for each satellite that these global flood products are based on. So you can see the flood events that we analyzed here. So we did a point-based accuracy assessment, but we also sort of did a product-to-product comparison, which you can see in the lower left there, where we sort of identified where the products agree and disagree on where is flood. So here in the image, you can see that yellow is where all 5, in this case, we also included some additional software. So in this case, it was a total of 7 products. So the yellow shows where all 7 products agreed that there was water, and the greener and bluer areas represent areas where a couple products thought there was water and a couple products didn't. So we hope to release the results from this study this year. Next slide. So that's all I had today. I'd be happy to expand more about the results from this intercomparison offline. I've included my email there, or feel free to just ask some questions in the chat or raise your hand. But I also wanted to provide some useful links. I'd be happy to drop these in the chat in case you can't click on them. But NASA Worldview is a really great resource for just a quick analysis to see which of these products are available. You can see the DSWX S1 Opera product, and you can also see some flood products that are derived from optical data there. There's also the Global Flood Monitor website, which provides access to that Copernicus-developed Sentinel-1 product. And I've also included the link to our GitHub, which provides a step-by-step guide on how to access the websites for each of these flood products, and also provides some code notebooks to automatically obtain these flood products and compare them to each other. So I'll stop there and turn it back over to the group for questions. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Micky, for this wonderful presentation, for introducing us to the products that are available. And that is actually getting us ready for the Sendai framework, so that everybody will have one product or the other to work with. So let's listen to questions now. Lux Matrina want to say something? Go ahead, please.
No, I was just applauding the presentation. Great presentation, Micky, and great to see the comparison and looking forward very much to the publication. We have some questions in the chat. I think, Jean, ask the questions. Jean, would you like to speak up and take the floor?
Yes, thank you very much. I want to ask the presenter to talk more about the DSWX S1. We'll talk about who can the NASA worldview about the flat and the product that are available every 6 days. Is it cover all the world? Is it freely accessible? And also if you can share experiences, because I think it's very relevant. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. So both the DSWX S1 and the GFM products cover Africa. As you mentioned, they're available every 6 days. So it's Worldview is really great to see if on your day of interest you got a Sentinel-1 overpass. So I'll be sure to share that link. But all of the products that we analyzed in this project had to be freely accessible and had to be globally available. So all 5 of those flood products are available. There's no gaps over Africa. Thank you for the question. And I'll be sure to share the link not only to Worldview, but I'll also share the link directly to accessing DSWX S1. Worldview is great for just visualizing the products, but there's also a separate website where you can actually download the products themselves. So I'll share both of those in the chat.
Okay. Martina, is there any other one on the chat? Do I have one there?
Yeah, I see your question, and there is also Kathleen. Dr. Jones, would you like to say a few words about Opera product?
Micky already answered that. It is global in extent and free. Yes.
Okay, thanks. Yes, so Kani, please, I think you can address your question.
Well, again, thank you for the presentation, introducing us to so many of those registry of products there that you can use. I'm just speaking aloud that you talk much about flood events. What about specifically flood forecasting? Can we use this product for flood forecasting? And if it is so, when it is about Africa, I'm always worried about the data used for the forecasting or the kind of model that were built for the forecasting, so that if we are testing, validating this product against what we already have, they'll be able to compare very well. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, so these products are just flood monitoring is how we've been referring to them. So they do not deal with flood forecasting. There are plenty of flood forecasting products out there, but for this project, we chose to focus on flood monitoring. I know GeoGlows is one that NASA EarthRISE has worked with a lot in the past in an international context. So GeoGlows is the one that comes to mind, but these products do not support flood forecasting.